Exploring Azeroth Kalimdor
Yeah.
is having strange things happening to it.
That's putting it one way.
So basically what happened is whenever it first came out, there was feedback. No. Well, this feedback was down to, a few different things. For some people, sort of a reinforcement of troubling racial and cultural stereotypes. So a lot of people thinking like, okay, well, we get it. We obviously know who you're basing the goblins off. But if you are going to deal that, are you really going to lean even heavier into some of those things and have a goblin poison the water?
Yeah.
Which obviously has a few things that track back to to history. So some thinkings about that. Also, lore inaccuracies. There's a passage that is talking about basically it mixes up the Dark Portal and the Well of Eternity.
1,000 years ago in the War of the what?
10,000. Yeah. Oh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wait, does it say 1,000?
It says 1,000 years.
No, it couldn't.
It says 1,000 years ago, the Highborn stuff, blah blah blah, the Dark Portal.
I thought it was 10,000 years.
It was 10,000 years, but the book doesn't say that. At least if I remember correctly, I'm fairly sure that's the case.
Interesting. Well,
I'll go back to last week's doc and confirm that.
At any rate, they mix those two things up. I think there's a few other mix-ups as well, and I think just generally speaking, it's not getting the biggest rap. There was then a whole freaking drama on Twitter that's barely worth getting into, where essentially it seems that the author of this doesn't have a Twitter account, so instead it was his wife's Twitter account that was basically dealing with it. But then it kind of felt like it was just an awkward situation, let's just say. I think it's resulted in a few tweets being deleted. Now the person's account is protected, and this is after, they were, getting clapbacked on for the things that they were saying. And the whole thing just turned into a big bloody mess.
I heard the Blue Dragons went their separate ways, etc., etc., etc. Her agents found a Sarsen Stone, blah, 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 blah. 1,000 years ago, the ruins along the lake formed Menar Academy, where mages trained. During the War of the Ancients, the mages used the arcane stone to redirect veins of magical energy called ley lines. They were trying to draw energy away from the Dark Portal, which the Burning Legion was using to invade Azeroth. Yeah.
Okay, so there is a way where you could say that is fine that those mages were always there, but given the context of that sentence,
yes,
the they is the academy done 1,000 years ago, so it doesn't make sense.
Yep. So,
ouch.
So that is, let's see, yeah. Because I'm trying to remember where Lake Menar is. Which one it is?
That's awkward. That's very awkward to have going on as a mistake.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, you don't want to have a lore book and then get the lore wrong in your own lore book. Like that's just pretty rough. Does make me think this is probably rushed somehow. Didn't really have the time in the oven that it needed. It
really. There is something very, very funny going on with it, I think. The inconsistencies are either it was blasted out in a weekend or it was written by someone who has no idea what's going on.
The thing is that Sean Copeland,
given Sean Copeland is the listed author,
has been in that role for ages too.
Is there a chance that this was maybe written not by Sean Copeland, but he was given the authorship? Is that possible? He led the authorship.
Well, now there is the direct defense of this is from his wife.
Oh yeah,
on the Twitter account. So I think that would sort of. But a lot of the initial lines for that were about like, this is more Blizzard's. This is the game team who make the calls on the lore.
Yeah.
Sean does not make any calls on the lore. He is purely there as a history and stuff. Hard to say really, but it's an awkward situation.
Yeah. I mean, it feels a little bit like a historian saying, yes, when Jesus was born in 1000 AD, or when, well, I suppose that's religious text, but yes, World War I that happened in 1984. It's kind of that stuff.
Wrong.
It's just you're just literally incorrect. But
yeah, awkward.
Unfortunate that occurred. I hope we get an explanation from an official source that's very. We're sorry about this. Whoops.
Yeah, I mean, right now Blizzard have basically left it to the author's wife.
Yep.
Which seems an odd way for a company to handle this, really. Yeah. But also, they will probably know that if they make a statement on it, it's going to be news.
Yeah.
And if they do that, given everything else going on, because, Bloomberg hasn't picked up on this. And so Bloomberg could pick up on this, and then just think about the headline. Blizzard publishes racially insensitive World of Warcraft book. Sure. And then have that be a part of the overall Blizzard news story. I mean, that is a juicy, bit of a scoop story on a platter, right? So maybe Blizzard don't want to draw any attention to this at all.
Yeah.
Because they're worried that there could be that PR sort of backlash.
Yeah.
So I wonder, like, because of this, is there someone in a department in Blizzard just F5ing all the different news sites being like, please don't pick up, please don't pick up, please don't pick up? Maybe.
That would make sense. That's like from a purely player perspective, I'm now very annoyed all of the racial stuff is there and involved, because if we're just a problem of this book is bad quality for the players, then we might have a solution. But now it's the waters are too messy for Blizzard to address genuine player concerns or genuine fan concerns, I would suggest, because players aren't going to be buying this book, fans will.
Yeah.
Which is a very fucking important distinction.